2 years ago, I was at one of my lowest points. And here's my glow up story. This is me, not at my best. I graduated during COVID, moved back into my dad's house, and started working a minimum wage job. Most of my friendships were fading away. I experienced family loss, maxed out credit card debt. I was still in the closet, just all the things. And I just felt empty, like a failure, because I couldn't figure out how to get my life together. But over time, I learned how to manage my anxiety. I moved out on my own. I even get paid for my talents now. I gained the confidence to start dating beautiful women. And now I have the confidence to pursue creative projects that fulfill me. So I'm gonna talk about the 5 major changes that I made to my life that helped me accomplish what I have now. I still got a long way to go, but I'm really grateful for how far I've come. All the timestamps are gonna be linked below, so let's get right into it. Let's actually head out. So college was my first taste of independence, and I didn't really understand the picture of what I was going to do after I graduated. On top of that, I graduated during COVID. Literally during spring break, they kicked us off campus and told us to never come back. Several months had passed and a huge health scare had happened to my dad and my uncle at the exact same time, and they were both in the hospital for like a month. And I really thought I was going to lose both of them at the same time. Thankfully, after they started to get better with their conditions, I got a minimum wage job working at Under Armour. I was also doing Instacart and DoorDash, and I was just extremely unhappy. And in this extremely desperate place, I ended up investing $10,000 that I did not have saved up into this online personal training program that ended up to be a scam. I was shattered. It was around this time as well that one of my cousins passed away, and it's crazy because she is like 2 years younger than me, and that really just put my life into perspective. I started to realize that I would really have to take my life serious if I wanted it to change. Like, no one was going to do it for me. And the number one thing, the first thing that I had to get together was taking my personal finance serious. So the first step was to get a better paying job. I started taking the process so serious. I was making spreadsheets for applications, and I eventually was able to get a couple interviews, and boom, there I was, able to start saving. Then I started thinking, would I be able to live on my own? So I did the same thing I did with my jobs, got a whole bunch of spreadsheets, and I started apartment hunting. And I was still going through a lot. Like, my dad was still having health issues. Unfortunately, my uncle ended up passing away. And so there were definitely ups and downs, but I was learning how to manage it, and I was learning how to think long term. And the biggest thing is I developed this autonomy, because once I moved, the game changed. But I wouldn't be able to do any of that if I didn't have routine. So we're about to head to the gym. So I've been small all my life. This is no secret, and people love telling me about it. From friends making jokes about it to older people calling me a tiny little thing. I've always been extremely self-conscious about my size. I'm 5'1.5", but 5'2" on Hinge. I weigh 90 pounds on a good day, and I've always struggled with gaining weight to a point where I was actually hospitalized for it for a bit. And while I can't do anything about my height, of course, I focused on, the parts of my body that I could control. And aside from aesthetics, another really important part of the gym is developing a discipline and routine for me. And it's not about aesthetics anymore. It's just about me doing my next challenge and then seeing where I could go. So without further ado, let's head to the kickboxing gym. Here in my kickboxing gym, my favorite place to be. No clue if you can hear me right now. But yeah, I just ran a mile. Trying to work on my cardio since I'm doing this 5K in a couple days. I try to come to the gym at least twice a week, usually Wednesdays and Saturdays. I don't stay any longer than an hour. For real, that's more than enough time to get something good in. When I'm here, I'm not like the small girl or this tiny chick that's just hitting something around. I love working on my skills, challenging myself, and pushing myself. I'm not the best at the stuff I do. My form's not the best and stuff, but I get out there and I try and I give it all I got. And for real, that's all we could really ask for. But yeah, I already showed up late, so let me go get this workout in. That's all it takes, 30, 45 minutes, an hour. And I get what I want from the workout. Discipline, commitment, and feeling more stronger and powerful. And working out to make your body feel good, but it's also important to keep in mind what you put on your body. So let's get into the other side of physical appearance.
Like it or love it, it's double or nothing. You ain't getting money, then you bugging. Damn fat, you know I'ma hug it. Lows by the truck, up the budget, cashing it in. Damn, I'm a bucket. OD.
So I wouldn't say I'm into fashion, but I'm definitely into the clothes that I wear, if that makes sense. So these are some of my top picks. Being able to express myself has just done amazing things for my confidence. I used to dress, kind of more feminine, and I was uncomfortable because I was wearing what I felt like I should be wearing. But now I have my own style. And the more comfortable I am with what I'm wearing, the better I'm gonna feel. But you get the point. You look good, you feel good. So this is the outfit that we went with. So we're gonna leave my friends behind, and we're gonna head out to my favorite place next. So I just pulled up to Busboys and Poets. This is a venue in Washington, D.C. that hosts open mics, which are pretty much creative events where artists can get on stage. This can be poetry, comedy, paintings, instruments, you name it. I mentioned that expression is very important to me, and I feel this venue, or open mics in general, have been a vital component in my mental health because it allows me to express myself and meet other like-minded people. I have a tendency to kind of retreat to myself, and like I mentioned all in the video, I've dealt with, various insecurities. And I realized that I was gonna have to look inward instead of trying to attach myself onto other people. I would argue that this is one of the most pivotal points of my glow up. But yes, I pretty much just tried to focus on what are things that I've always wanted to try out. And I realized that, I don't need other people to try these things out. And I did this by reflecting on 4 main things: skills, talents, hobbies, and interests. So let's break these down. We got skills, which are things that you can learn and get better at. For me, some of these things would include graphic design, video editing, photography. Next, we have talents, which is something that you kind of don't need to practice a whole bunch to be good at. For me, this was poetry. I've never really been taught poetry or spoken word or how to express myself in that way. I just kind of get out the phone and see what my brain does. So that's a natural talent that I have. Next, we have hobbies. So I would classify this as something that you kind of just do purely for fun. There's going to be a lot of overlap, but an example of this for me would be piano. I was teaching myself piano a while back, so it's kind of a skill, but it's also something that I wasn't planning to use anywhere else. I just wanted to learn piano, and so I started teaching myself it for fun. I really love music and instruments, so this is something I wanted to dabble in, but not take too seriously. As opposed to a skill like photography, I've gotten paid to do something like that. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you can't find anything in any of these categories, you can start with general interests, things you wouldn't normally think of. For example, for me, I like watching interviews and debates. And, this being something that I like watching, maybe I, at some point, would want to actually engage in something like this. I know interviewing for sure. I would love to have a podcast or something. But yes, by focusing on my skills, hobbies, talents, and interests, I literally became more interesting to myself. And I feel like that started to show because other people were drawn to it. I started going to places where people were engaging in these activities. And like I mentioned, I've actually gotten paid to do some of these things, literally by just putting myself out there. This has helped me battle my loneliness and feel more content within myself, which is going to lead me right into the next point of solitude. So let's go. I got some food. A place called Honeymoon Chicken off of Georgia Avenue in Washington, D.C. You should check it out. But related to what I was mentioning before, I've become comfortable in my own company. Hold on. I feel like I shouldn't talk while I'm eating and chewing. But yes, for a long time, I felt like I always needed to be with someone. And anytime I wasn't, I would get really lonely. This was particularly amplified when I lost my friendship with my ex-best friend. A lot of these points tied together, but I'm really trying to emphasize how solitude has given me a lot of inner power, I guess you could say. And I feel that there's 3 main ways in which I do that. The first is going on walks. Anytime I'm really anxious or really emotional and I'm stuck in my own thoughts, I try to get outside, get some fresh air, get some sunlight, and go on a walk. But yes, pretty much walks allow me to be more mindful and not let me get carried away by my thoughts, at least for a little bit. A way I do this on a grander scale is go solo traveling. So I think on my 23rd birthday, I started going on solo trips. I had never been on a plane before and I wanted to like take a risk. So yes, I started going on solo trips to travel big cities. I've been on like 3 so far. And one of the biggest ways that I've learned how to enjoy my solitude is by moving alone. Now, I don't want to say all of this and make it seem like I don't get lonely, but I feel like, I don't know, solitude is kind of so rare nowadays with social media, everybody wanting to be in the know. Like, I'm really just cool, chilling here, working on myself. Like, it's not like I'm just chilling here watching TV. I work on myself, I work on my YouTube, I work on my skills, and I try and get better. This helps me become more grounded, just being able to reflect and process my thoughts. And through this, I developed my 5 core values. I'm not going to get into that too much in this video, but my 5 core values are courage, so I like to take risks for the things that I love and believe in. Patience, so that's being able to wait with a good attitude. Optimism, so that's being like hopeful for good opportunities to come in the future and having a more positive perspective on my experiences. Gratitude, appreciating where I am in this moment specifically and all that's taking me to come here. And genuineness, and this has 2 parts. So assuming the good in people and then treating them as such and approaching situations with good intention. You should check out next week's video if you're interested in learning more about my values, because that could be a whole like series on its own. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you want to see more, you can subscribe. Hope you're having a good morning, evening, night, and see you later. I don't know, I'm tired.